joining us on StreamYard is two ladies, Neelam, Rahim, and also Azraa, Seedat, who are going to be telling us a bit about that proposal and also about you, the people of Johannesburg, also get involved and also you sign that petition so that there's more transparency when it comes to the procurement processes of Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Salam Media.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much for having us.
Wa alaikum salam. It's good to be here.
Azraa, let me start with you. First and foremost, there's a wide range of issues that I think you guys, would have chosen, in this year's program, but you guys chose to go with the issue of, the changing of the reform of the bylaws and also focusing on the procurement processes and demanding more accountability and transparency when it comes to that. Why this specifically? Why did you guys look at this particular issue and thought there needs more work that needs to be done when it comes to the bylaw and also the transparency when it comes to the city of Johannesburg?
Yes, thank you. So I think quite generally, I think the ASRI program and all the fellow leaders here are really committed to social justice and really pushing for transparency and accountability in order to ensure that there's good governance. I think particularly what motivated us to choose this specific issue is that throughout the program, I think we've become increasingly aware of really the pervasiveness of corruption, particularly in the city of Joburg, where we are situated. And I think just being able to recognize how public funds are being oftentimes misused and really the bad effects that has on each of our lives. We've seen how that negatively impacts things like education, infrastructure. So I think that's specifically what led us to pick this specific issue. And I think in pushing for transparency, we just really ultimate goal is to ensure that public funds are really going to where they need to the most. I think we've seen that this corruption often impacts the most vulnerable in our society. And I think as a group, like I said, at ASRI, I think we really try to champion things like constitutional values, good governance. And I think this is an area within our own community, which we recognize was a problem. And also an area where we feel that as citizens, as future leaders, we could also have an impact. And I think that's what motivated us to pick the specific issue.
Neelam, I'm going to, bring you in there. If maybe we could focus a bit on the details of the proposal. If you can, just kindly explain the key components of your proposed bylaw reform.
Okay, so thank you for the question. Our proposed bylaw changes, it seeks to change the improvement in oversight and transparency, guaranteeing accountability in the oversight mechanisms in the public procurement processes.
And how important was it, to set clear publication deadlines and also extend review periods? I'll bring that question to you, Azraa.
I think that's extremely important. And I think what we're trying to do with this bylaw is really ensure that there's a continuous flow of information, specifically to the public. And I think what this will allow is for us to pick up any discrepancies as they happen. And I think it's really encouraging more of a proactive approach rather than the reactionary approach that we often sometimes see when it comes to the public sector. So I think that was really important. And I think also it ensures that there is going to be transparency and accountability, as it allows the public to sort of have a sense of ownership in the whole process. It really gives the public agency to be able to overview all these processes. And ultimately, I think it's really important because, like I said, it's ensuring that the funds ultimately are going to where they need to go by insisting that all tender documents, including things like their registrations, their BEE, triple BEE certificates, any of their pricings are all made public. I think we can really ensure that these tenders are being awarded on merit and not simply just on favoritism or on bribery. And I think ultimately the goal of that is to just ensure a better life for everyone in the city of Joburg, because funds will be used for what they are actually meant to be used, and we won't see any wastage of funds.
And Neelam, why was it so important to involve the public and also call for their support? And most importantly, how can the residents of Johannesburg themselves get involved in supporting this bylaw reform that you guys are proposing?
Okay, so the residents of Johannesburg can back up our suggested bylaw by participating and signing up on our petition, which is advocating for transparency, oversight, and accountability in the procurement processes. I think that the cornerstone of our proposed bylaw is to the benefit of the ordinary public citizens, which would enable them to more equitable access to essential services like healthcare, law enforcement, water, and electricity. And involving the public in this public advocacy project is speaking to their daily lives, and the bylaw aims to change the lives of ordinary citizens for better enhancement and equal opportunities to all of the citizens in the city of Johannesburg.
I want us to focus a bit on implementation and also the impact of your proposal here. And one thing that jumps out at me is you guys are calling for local businesses to be given first preference and to be prioritized. Azraa, how do you see this helping Johannesburg's economy and community to grow and to participate when it comes to tenders and procurement of services to the city of Johannesburg?
No, definitely. I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I think it speaks to the fact that what we're petitioning for and the project that we're currently running, it's not just simply a bureaucratic change that we're hoping for. It's really a transformative initiative, which we want to see benefit the entire city of Joburg. And that prioritizing local businesses, SMMEs, I think that really speaks to that. We really want to empower these smaller businesses to really give them a chance. And I think that it will really help with the social fabric of the city of Johannesburg, just ensuring that everyone in the city has a sense of ownership in developing the city and improving the city. And I think that's a great way that we can do this. At the same time, while we're ensuring this transparency and accountability, how do we then also ensure that Joburg is growing and everyone is a part of that? I think we've come to recognize that the city is ours. And I think that's what we want to spread to everyone as well. It's each and every citizen of the city of Joburg to sort of be an active citizen and get involved and really participate in improving the city for all of us.
And Neelam, how do you foresee the increased transparency and accountability in procurement benefiting the everyday citizen of Johannesburg if your reform proposal is ultimately seen and it's implemented?
Okay, so by publishing a list of blacklisted businesses, I think this will open the space for the public to make decisions. So we have mandated in our bylaw that one of the serious implications would be the blacklisted companies that would be publicly advertised on the city officials' websites. And I think that this would promote fair competition for reputable businesses to participate in public procurement processes, whereby the blacklisted companies are being advertised on the CoJ's website. It would limit the door or close the door for them to then further engage into more corrupt services. And I think this would give more opportunity to local businesses with reputable organizations. It's definitely going to give them the opportunity to participate in the public procurement processes.
And just staying with you there, Neelam, how much do you think, corruption and the lack of transparency and accountability, has led to the state of the city of Johannesburg to be in disarray as we see it right now? How much of an impact do you think, corruption has added into us seeing the city's infrastructure and the way that is run basically, crumble?
Well, look, it's drastic. The matter, the urgency of the matter in the public procurement processes, it cannot be understated. The urgency is clear for change. I mean, we see it in our daily lives. We see it from the elderly to the young who are facing these dire consequences of corruption when it comes to their education, when it comes to access to healthcare facilities. The elderly are paying for the corruption along with the youngsters. So it's impacting all across the board of our citizens. It's impacting from the young to the old. Infrastructure is failing, which is coming at a cost of lives in certain instances in the public health sector, which we clearly see crumbling. There is no transparency, and I think the core matter that needs to be addressed is the concentration of power within the treasury and the minister, and the public not having a voice is what we are advocating for. We are advocating for the public to be able to direct where we believe the funds need to be directed at for the betterment of all of our futures.
And you, Azraa, I'm sure you should know that regulation reform is not an easy task. What challenges do you foresee in implementing these reforms, and how do you plan to overcome them?
Certainly. I think one of the biggest challenges is often just resistance or pushback from entrenched interests, which possibly have been benefiting from these opaque systems that we currently have in place. I think that's probably the biggest challenge. But I don't just think that our challenge comes with those in leadership or those at the top. I think it's also being that we as citizens haven't really recognized really the responsibility we have and even the power that we have. I think sometimes we're not really aware of how things in our city work. And I think so that's been one of the first things that we've really tried to do. I'm part of the Grassroots Advocacy and Lobbying team, is to really go out and really educate the public about the power that they do actually have. Ultimately, I think sometimes we live in the city and we might think that maybe there's not enough money. That's why we have all these issues. And I think we really want to make it clear that people in the city pay their rates and taxes. We just need to ensure that there isn't a mismanagement of these funds. And obviously, I think even some of the pushback might be that how would we implement this? And again, I think we've been very clear in our bylaw where we're setting out the steps of how we can make this possible. And we also have technology on our side today. So I think it would be very easy to make all these things public, to put it on a website. So I think those are some of the main challenges, but I think we also are trying our best to work against those challenges. But I will say it's definitely something that we can't do on our own. We'll definitely need a lot of support from the public, and that's why we've started a petition to try and get as much support that we can go and use that to say that this is something that the public supports and wants to stand for.
Speaking about the public, Neelam, what message do you have for the citizens of Johannesburg regarding the importance of this initiative, and most importantly, how can they get involved? How do they get hold of you guys? Where do they sign the petition?
Okay, so I would like to say to the citizens of Johannesburg that our bustling streets hide a troubling truth, which is corruption in the public procurement. And this corruption is draining the city's funds. And I think that it is crucial for the public to be made more aware of where these funds are going. I think that they, like Azraa, I would reiterate what Azraa said, that the citizens themselves need to feel and act on the responsibility that they have as to where our funds are going to. We demand transparency in the public procurement moving forward, which is what we are advocating for. Support from the public is crucial. So every signature is a voice, and that is what we are appealing to the public. Our bylaw does not just have the potential to combat corruption, but it ensures change to the ordinary lives of citizens, ensuring access to essential basic services. And I think that is the core goal or core aim that we are going to achieve by this proposed bylaw.
All right. I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. I think a very, very important
If I can just
initiative.
add in one
Yes,
last thing,
yes.
maybe.
Please go ahead.
So to access our petition, you can follow the ASRI page on Instagram. It's at ASRI_PBO. And you will find a link to our petition, which you can please sign. And there'll also be links to access the full bylaw and a number of videos giving some more information about our proposed bylaw.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I think very, very important there. Or you can just search ASRI on Instagram, and I'm sure it will pop up there, and you can get all that information. But as I mentioned, we're going to leave it here. Thank you so much for giving us your time and sharing with us this crucial information about your initiative. I think it's needed. Reform in the city of Johannesburg is something that a lot of people have been calling for a very long time, but not having a blueprint on just how to go about it. So thank you so much for giving us your time and shedding more information on this.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it there. Azraa, Seedat, and also Rahim, they're just giving us a bit more information about the CoJ's procurement processes and how reform is needed in that regard. Very, very interesting information. And I think, go out social media if you're seeking more information. If you want to get involved, check them out on Instagram, their website. Just search ASRI, and I'm sure it'll pop out. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're wrapping up the 2023-2024 Premier Soccer League season. We'll be speaking to the football coach at Stars of Africa Football Academy, who's going to be giving us a bit more information about some of the players that he has noticed, some of the standout moments in the league, and most importantly, the Soweto Giants, Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates. What's happening after Mamelodi Sundowns clinched their 7th title? Man, I think hope our league is not turning into a farmers league. That's the conversation we'll be having with Ihram Arend after the break.